In the days following the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, that left 19 students and 2 teachers dead, various news reports had referenced the police and their claims that the shooter, Salvador Ramos, was able to enter the classroom where he killed all the victims through a door that was left propped open. In fact, I'm going to show you a video here, and I've showed you this before. This is Texas DPS Director Stephen McCraw. This was on a Friday press conference where that claim was first made. Take a look.
Suspected of where we knew the shooter entered, Ramos, was propped open by a teacher. 11:28, the suspect vehicle crashes into the ditch, as previously described. The teacher runs to the room 132 to retrieve a phone, and that same teacher walks back to the exit door, and door remains propped open.
All right, so now, turns out, like a lot of the things the police had said initially, that was not true. According to the San Antonio Express News, the teacher, the lawyer of that teacher, says that no, the teacher had actually closed the door shut after being informed that the active shooter was on the loose in the area. In fact, lawyer Don Flannery said the teacher, who remains unidentified, had called 911 to report an accident near the school involving a black truck. That truck later turned out to belong to Ramos. Flannery added that the teacher propped open the door around the time Ramos crashed the truck and that the employee called 911, but said he wants to make clear the door was not left propped open. Quote, she saw the wreck. She ran back inside to get her phone to report the accident. She came back out while on the phone with 911. The men at the funeral home warned her, saying he's got a gun. She saw him jump the fence, and he had a gun, so she ran back inside. Before running back inside, she kicked the rock from the door. She remembers pulling the door closed while telling 911 that he was shooting. She thought the door would lock because that door is always supposed to be locked. So, security video, by the way, also confirms the teacher had removed the rock and shut the door. And so here we have another situation where the police had lied. Oh no, it was propped right open, allowing Ramos to come right in. Guess that's kind of the teacher's fault, right? And not our fault. No, that door was closed. Fact, that's the fact. And so now look, I was very, very skeptical of the official police report because I know through doing this and numerous stories that I know that police lie. Now, I realize that to some people that might be incredibly shocking. Oh my God, no, are you saying the police lie? Yeah, I'm saying the police lie. We've had good evidence for a very, very long time. Many stories that police not only will lie in court, plant evidence, write false police reports, and they do so because, look, we are, as a culture, as a society, we've been lied to about the police. We've been told that, no, they're the good guys in every situation. And what they say, you need to take as complete gospel. And by the way, the media, as you've seen, the media had repeated this because they also believe that. The media reports, it's almost like when they do press releases for the government as well. A lot of these news agencies, they will just take what the police say, or in some cases, the Defense Department, the government, etc., and write it down uncritically as if it is the unvarnished truth. And that is not always the case. As far as regular people, again, we're told that the police are paragons of virtue, that they're here to protect us, defenders of goodness. And again, that is not the case. Not the case at all. Obviously, we know that they're human beings. They're fallible. And as such, in many ways, more concerned with protecting themselves. You've heard of the thin blue line, of course. Protecting themselves, their jobs, their department's image. They care about more of those things than doing the right thing in a lot of cases. And this is one of those cases, I believe. While everybody is wondering what took so long for the 19 officers stacked outside the door for over an hour, while children were inside making panicked calls to 911, desperately trying to stay alive. These cops decided, no, we don't have answers for why we didn't act. So we're just going to deflect the blame. We're going to distract you. We're going to throw out some squirrels and say, well, the teacher left the door open. As I mentioned during my report yesterday, when I talked about, it was actually a couple of days ago, but when I talked about this before, when they had first made this claim, that they're pretty deliberate at what they put out in these press conferences. They don't just come out and say, random stuff. No, they're very deliberate in their messaging, even if their messaging is wrong. And so that messaging, pointing out how the teacher left the door open, it was propped open, was kind of meant to take away from the officer's lack of a response. And so they're throwing out those squirrels, and that's pretty disastrous. And look, that's just one of the squirrels being thrown out. Another one is, of course, making sure that we don't have the discussion about gun policy as well. We know the police, it's weird because they said that they were too afraid to go into the room. This is according to another officer talking to Wolf Blitzer on CNN. Oh, we could have been shot. We could have been killed. Well, I mean, that person was armed with an AR-15 and he was holed up in a room. Now, if you think that that is such a danger, that you were so concerned, that you're so worried that you let those kids stay in that room and be killed while you're outside because you're too afraid to go in because they had that AR-15, well, then maybe you should be on the side of trying to do an assault weapons ban. Why you support something like that. Now, are any police or are any police unions going out there and saying we should have an assault weapons ban because we're tired of seeing dead kids and we're also super afraid of going into those buildings, with these active shooters that are armed with such a weapon? No, they don't go out there. They're not on the side of doing anything about gun regulation, about doing an assault weapons ban. In fact, it seems more likely that they're fine with these weapons because it justifies them getting all these fancy new toys, all these, weapons, ballistic armor, stuff that they can look badass and cosplay in. Well, while it might be cosplay or badassery for you, militarized police is not a good thing for our country. Not a good thing for our populace, especially since the police are not actually here to protect you. They're here to protect property and capital against the population.